Hello, and welcome to another Apostolic Bible Quizzing tutorial video. This time we're talking about how to interrupt questions. So, the first thing you need to do when you want to learn how to interrupt is you have to make sure that the quizzers know their material. The saying goes, don't get the cart before the horse. And in this case, the horse is the material. If you don't know the verses, it's not going to help you at all to know how to interrupt, because you have to know how to answer. When you interrupt, you have to finish the question, and to finish the question you have to know the verses. So learn your verses, learn your chart work, and then the next thing you need to do is do a lot of practice quizzes.
Yeah, practice quizzes are a big deal. Some people don't, I feel like some people don't put enough emphasis on it. You can tell by the way the quizzers answer questions that they aren't fully familiar with how to answer questions. And questions are written to a pattern that is meant to be interrupted. That's the way that they are written these days. They're supposed to be interrupted. And every question has a key word. That means there's a point in the verse where the pattern and the answer are given. So there's a word at every question that if you hit it before this word, you're not going to know the answer, and you're not going to know the pattern, you're not going to know the verse. But
sometimes it can be as this key word can just be the verse reference. Like if you were to say what person is named in Acts chapter 2 verse 38, if you're studying the book of Acts, you have to wait until they say 38. And in that case, the word 38 would be your key word.
Right, and you have to be able to recognize the pattern that's coming. And this, again, is done through just doing practice quizzes. Obviously, they tell you it's a two-part question, but you know what style of a question is it?
There's more to question patterns than just question types.
Yeah.
Although that is part of it, it's how they're written. For instance, you can have several different three-part questions that sound completely different because they have different patterns.
Right, and we'll have another video to explain question patterns, but right now we're just talking about how to interrupt. And question patterns gives you the ability to anticipate the key word. When you understand the pattern, you'll know when the key word is coming. And all this is knowledge, and it needs to be put into action. And that's why you need to do a lot of practice quizzes.
Right. Now, anticipation. You mentioned anticipation of the key word. A lot of people get stuck at interrupting as a reactionary thing, wherein they listen to the question and they're focused and they're trying their best, and they hit the buzzer after they hear the key word. That is good, and it's still an interruption, but there's more to quizzing than just interrupting after you hear the key word. If you do enough practice quizzes and you learn to recognize question patterns, then you can get to the place where you not only can hit the buzzer after you hear the key word, but you can actually hear it coming. You can anticipate the key word because you know the pattern.
Right, and for practice quizzing purposes, for you coaches out there, tell your quizzers, I don't care what division that they're in, well, beginners don't interrupt. Well, the good ones do. And you need to start them, they need to be used to interrupting every question. When you're doing a quiz, I don't care if it's a practice quiz, you need to be interrupting every question, because when it matters most, they need to be interrupting. Your nationals, your final game at regionals, the big tournaments, extravaganzas, they're going to need to be interrupting. So practice at that level. Interrupt every question. And it's important to teach this keyword deal, because you don't want them just hitting the buzzer just because you tell them to interrupt. It has to be a calculated hit. And
That's right.
Knowing that just comes from doing a lot of practice quizzes where you're interrupting. So learn the keyword, learn to recognize the pattern, learn to anticipate it, and that's about it on how to interrupt. And kind of need to know your material. That's kind of important.
Good quizzers interrupt, and the great quizzers interrupt on anticipation.
Yeah.
So learn your material. Do a lot of practice quizzes. Learn to find what a key word is. Learn to recognize question patterns, and from there,
start anticipating the keyword.
And there you have it. That's the basics on how to interrupt questions. Good luck, happy quizzing. Make sure that you check out the other videos on our YouTube channel if you haven't already. Check out our website, apostolicbq.com. Stay informed, stay motivated, and good luck quizzing.